Oh, that's a great way to start off, huh? Clearing my throat. Hopefully that didn't get picked up, but I am going to switch over. Welcome. Welcome to the live stream. This is Random Stuff with Bryan, number 6. And we are once again going to be talking about more random stuff, just like we always do. And I promise not to play any games this time. I know the past couple of streams I've come on because I don't really prepare any topics because I want this to be more of a just sit and hang out kind of stream than anything. So, oh, gotta mute that. Got the stream playing back. But anyway, yeah, I just want this to be a excuse me, sorry, I need to maybe drink some water right now. Gobstopper27, hello. How's it going, man? Welcome to Random Stuff with Bryan, number 6. I guess since you're here and we talk about random stuff here on this live stream, just about whatever you, the viewers, want to talk about. Do you have a topic you'd like to discuss, a question or something maybe you'd like to ask me? Man, it is hot in here. Sorry. I think I'm going to turn on my ceiling fan. Let me know if it's like too noisy, like picking up on the mic, and I'll turn it back off. But I am burning up right now. Got these lights on and everything. Let's see. We got 2 watching. One of them is me, and the other one I'm guessing is Gobstopper27. I do have one thing that I was thinking. Oh, okay. Hey, he's got a question. It says, I am building my first custom gaming PC and am super nervous because I'm spending a lot of money on it. What's your best advice for a new PC builder? That is a great question. Sorry, had to adjust the fan again. Hey, MB67. Hello, welcome. I'm working on a question here from Gobstopper27. He's asking about advice for a first-time custom PC builder. My advice would be, what type of monitor are you gaming on? That would be my very first piece of advice, because if you are gaming on what I mean by type of monitor, I mean like your resolution and refresh rate. So if you're gaming like 1080p 60 hertz, which that means your 60 hertz is the refresh rate of the display, so that means your monitor can display 60 frames per second, essentially. So if that's where you're going, 1080p 60 hertz, so 60 FPS, then from there I can kind of help guide you on what would be good hardware without overspending, because the very first PC I ever built, I know that I overspent by a lot. So that would be my first question, I guess, to help you, is what is your resolution and refresh rate of the monitor you want to be gaming on? Excuse me. And while I wait for Gobstopper27, usually my live stream, I started out doing them on Thursdays, and then I switched to Saturday mornings is what I wanted to do. But last night I went on a little camping trip with my kids, and so we obviously weren't home or near a computer or anything this morning, so I waited until we got back, and so we're back and showered, and I mowed my lawn and all that stuff, and so now I am ready to start the stream. I almost thought about not doing it at all, because we had a cousin's, his daughter just finished preschool, and so they're having kind of a little family party thing to celebrate her graduation from preschool, and then it's my cousin's birthday was earlier this week, and we're going to get together as adults to go and kind of celebrate his birthday later tonight. But so yeah, okay. He says that he's looking, so that's what you're looking for, 1080p 60. All right. So if you're looking for 1080p 60 hertz, then you don't need to get like a GTX 1080 or something, because a GTX 1080 is overkill. So for a graphics card, if you want to play all your games at max settings, depending on your budget, I would say your best cards to go for are going to be either the, like, my first choices would be the RX 580 or the GTX 1060 6GB model. Those would be my first two choices. If those are a little bit out of your budget, then maybe look at the 1060 3GB, because that's actually still a decent card for 1080p gaming. I mean, it's a really good GPU. It's just the 3GB of VRAM it's you know, like it's right on the edge, in my opinion, of being outdated, kind of, because I feel like most games nowadays, it's a lot better to have 4 gigs of VRAM on the card. But the 3 gig model is still a very good 1080p card. Or you can go, if that doesn't quite fit in your budget, the 1050 Ti is pretty good. And then also the RX 470, I personally haven't ever used one, so I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know that it's roughly performance-wise close to the 1050 Ti-ish, somewhere in there. It says MB67 said, I started out with good intentions on my first PC build, but it spiraled out of control money-wise. I know exactly how that goes. Every time I build, I'm like, okay, you know, I'm gonna keep it, you know, at $1,000 or whatever, and then it always ends up being $2,000 because I just, like, you know, I'm like, oh, I could just upgrade to just this one thing to a little bit better, and then a little bit better, and on everything, and then all of a sudden it's $2,000. So Gobstopper27 says, I think I'm going to get a Ryzen 5 1600X CPU and an Asus ROG 1070 Ti GPU, 8 gig model. It says I got about $1,300 budget. The 1070 Ti is a fantastic GPU. It would serve you very well. It is overkill for a 1080p 60 hertz monitor, but if, you know, you're wanting to upgrade someday to higher resolution, then it won't hurt to get the 1070, obviously, the 1070 Ti. See, what's the new what is it, the 2600X? I don't know what the price difference is on the Ryzen 5. There's a new Ryzen processor. I don't know if you know that. They just released their 2nd gen Ryzen processors a couple months ago. And so there's the 2600X, I think, that is basically the replacement for the 1600. So you might want to look into that, potentially, if that's kind of, you know, where you're going. And that would be like, it's that CPU is better than what you would need for 1080p 60 hertz gaming. You can really get away with like a Ryzen 3. I used it. I did a build several months ago. Actually, it was over like Christmas time. I used a Ryzen 3 1200, and I overclocked it to 3.8 gigahertz, and put a GTX 1060 3GB in it. The total cost on that, well, at the time, GPU prices and stuff were cheaper. I was able to get the 1060 for $200, and that killed every game I threw at it, 1080p 60 max settings. So see, MB67 says, I've built a small form factor gaming PC using the 1050 Ti. It's a great GPU. Yeah, it is. I mean, I haven't used one, but looking at performance numbers online, I'm impressed, especially at the price point. It's kind of an exciting time right now for 1080p gaming, because the GPUs that can do like 1080p and high settings on games are getting much more affordable. Seems like it wasn't that many years ago, really, that 1080p 60, well, I would say like 2015, I built my PC. I bought a GTX 970 at the time, and it was like $330 or $350 for that. And a GTX 970 is about equivalent performance of a GTX 1060. So there you go. Can I explain what gigahertz and all those words mean, since I'm a beginner? Not sure what all that means. Well, I can do my best. I'm not going to say that I'm an expert on all of that stuff and know exactly all of that. I know that the term giga, when you use that, is what, MB67, correct me if I'm wrong, is like for what, like a million of something. So it's basically 1 gigahertz is like a million hertz. Is that right? Because I know for gigabyte, like a gigabyte on your computer is, it's not exactly a million bytes, but close enough. Because I know there's I was reading recently about the difference between gigabytes and, what is it, gigabytes or gigabytes? I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. But that's why, like, your hard drives that say they're 500, they'll say 500 gigs, or they might even say GIB, because I think that's the accurate thing. Because I was reading, I would like to understand it better, I should say, but I know it had to do with, like, with decimal values, where it's like places of 10 and stuff, where, because, you have, in binary, you have ones and zeros, so there's only 2 values. And so it's, values of 10. This is the way they do that. But, yeah. But yeah, so I guess if you wanted to know, like, so you have the smallest unit that I know of is the bit, and there are 8 bits in a byte, right? I should Google this so I get it exactly right, because my knowledge is kind of more of a loosely, it's not like the 100% accurate knowledge. It's a little bit looser, I guess I would call it, where, I look at it and say, I know that there's 8 bits in a byte, and then there are roughly, 1,000 bytes in a kilobyte, and then you have, and then a megabyte is 1,000 kilobytes. Right? Yes. Is that right? And then a gigabyte is 1,000. Yeah, that's right. And then a gigabyte is 1,000 megabytes, and a terabyte is 1,000 gigabytes. And that's all kind of rough numbers, because I know that it's really like 1028 or something like that, 1028 or something like that. I don't remember. That's why I say that. Sorry. I hope I'm probably just confusing you more right now. Says the small form factor build I did had Ryzen 5 1400 GTX 1050 Ti knocked to a low profile cooler and a fractal design Node 202. Dude, that sounds pretty sweet. That must be, is that like a HTPC or something that you're using that for? So that's like pretty, that seems like it'd be a pretty power efficient machine, and it'd be like a really sweet, like, HTPC. What do I think about ASRock motherboards? I like ASRock motherboards. They're cool. I've used a couple of them in the past and haven't had any problems with them, knock on wood. For gaming, gigahertz is the clock speed of the processor and the graphics card. Yeah. Is that more what your question was, Gobstopper? That, like, you wanted to know, like, what gigahertz means, because you have the frequency at which the processor runs, like your CPU and your GPU, and they measure it in hertz. Like, I remember back in the day, I had computers that ran at, I don't even remember, it's been so long, but it was below 1 gigahertz. And I remember, you'd have computers that ran at a couple hundred megahertz, and so it's just a higher frequency, so a faster speed, essentially, is kind of the layman's way of describing it. It's basically more speed, so the higher the number, the faster it runs. Says, you like MB67 likes ASRock boards? Yeah, I've personally, like I said, I haven't had any problems with them. I've used a couple of them in some builds I've done, and they've all been fine, rock solid. Although I did have one problem with one, where every time I'd plug in a USB 3 flash drive into a USB 3 port, the computer would just lock up, and I figured that had to be like a driver thing. And so I went and looked, and there was a driver package that I had downloaded from ASRock's website, and it had a USB 3 driver from, I don't remember who the manufacturer was, but it had the manufacturer's name, like in the name of the driver file. So obviously I reinstalled that driver, and it kept doing the same thing. It kept locking up. So then I went to that manufacturer's website that built the controller and downloaded a USB 3 driver directly from them, installed it, and then it worked. It was fine. So that's the only problem I've ever had with the ASRock board. So dinner time. Thanks for the advice. You'll be back later. All right, Gobstopper, thanks for stopping in. Enjoy your dinner. I'm only going to be streaming for about an hour today. I should wrap up a little after 5 o'clock because I got started here, I don't know, it was right around 4:15 or something. MB67 says I think MB67, you might be the only one here now. I think it's just you and me, man. It says the Node 202 build using ASRock B350 ITX. I have yet to work with build an ITX system. I want to though. I think it's really cool how small those ITX motherboards are, and I would love to build something using one. This is my Threadripper upgrade build. We'll use the ASRock X399 Pro Gaming because I want the built-in 10 gig Ethernet. Ooh, 10 gig Ethernet. How much does networking hardware cost for 10 gig? It's last time I looked at it because I was curious about it, and I was like, I'd love to have. I have no use for 10 gig, but it's the PC enthusiast in me that's just yes, I want that. And I looked at it, and it was way more money than I wanted to spend. So. Yep, you are. Yep, you're the only one here right now. It's just you and me. So you at work again this week? I can't remember. It was a couple weeks ago, I think. But that was a later at night one. Well, yeah, it was later at night, and you were on, and so I was just curious if you are working again tonight. It's a challenge going with ITX. Yeah, I watch Bitwit and Paul's Hardware and those guys, and I've seen them do some small form factor builds, especially Kyle, because Kyle likes to do the small form factor stuff, and it's always looks like a bear when it comes to cable management and stuff like that, trying to get everything crammed in there and keep cables tidy and everything. Okay, Saturday's your day off, so you're just chilling at home, I'm guessing, hanging out. So, MB67, what have you heard about the GTX 1180? I was just reading a little bit about it before I started streaming, just because there's lots of rumors running around about it possibly releasing in July, and I remember seeing a video from Jay's 2 Cents, I don't know, it's been a couple of weeks ago, I think, that he was saying that he was kind of just doing a thing where he was sitting down answering questions, basically, about that a lot of people have tweeted at him and or written in comments, and he said that he had no information about new GPUs coming out, and that he thought, his speculation was it might be closer till Christmas. And right now there's lots of rumors flying around that we might see something at Computex, which is coming up very soon. I don't know exactly when that is, but I know it's just around the corner. Here, what does it start at the beginning of June, something like that? But then so they're talking about maybe seeing it at Computex, and then it could be possibly seeing Founders Edition cards in July. I mean, it's been 2 years, I think, since they launched the 10 series, and so I mean they're overdue in my opinion for a new release. But at the same time, there's not really any pressure from AMD for them to release new cards. So you think so, huh? You're on board with the people saying that you think it's going to come out in July? Well, I got a article from techradar.com that I have brought up over here. Let's see here. Bookmarks. So we'll get rid of that. What is this tab for? Oh well. But I brought this article up from TechRadar, and I guess I could... Oops. Wrong thing. Okay, there we go. That's what I wanted to do. Pop my picture back up in there. So I was looking at this and reading a little bit about it, and that's kind of what they talk about in this article. They just kind of talk about, the beginning here, talking about how it's been a long time, and we've got Volta. People are wondering if it's going to be Volta-based or if it's this Ampere or Turing kind of seems to be the code name that a lot of people are going with right now after Alan Turing, the guy that was in, if you ever watched the movie The Imitation Game with Benedict Cumberbatch. And, talk about how they think, Computex is coming up, so we might see a sneak peek about it then. And they think that July seems to be when the new cards are going to drop, and then we might see third-party cards in August or September. But yeah, and then down here a little later they got some pricing where they think that it could be around $700 US, or they're thinking maybe even as high as $750, which, I mean, I guess that's very possible, I guess. But one of the things that they were talking about is they're saying it's going to be even more powerful than the current Titan XP, which I am... Yes, waiting for the TI version before you upgrade. I think all of the PC enthusiasts out there, or a lot of us, will wait for the TI. It's all like, because you always, there's always the 80 series graphics card that comes out, and it is amazing at the time. But then, how many months down the road, and all of a sudden, oh hey, here's the TI, and it's like it's just as good or better especially when it comes to gaming than the Titan. But here's some of the speculated specs. I like how they say speculation. We got running at 200 watts, at 12 nanometer process. It's going to have 3584 CUDA cores, 224 texture mapping units, 16 gigabytes of GDDR6, and a rated floating point 32 performance of a whopping 13 teraflops. And that's a lot of numbers that I do not fully 100% understand, but they are bigger numbers than previous generations of cards, which means that it's going to be able to push higher frame rates at higher resolutions than previous generations of graphics cards. It's basically what that all boils down to, in my opinion. I did do a little bit of math on the... because it's compared the 1080 is 2560 CUDA cores, so going up to 3584 CUDA cores is actually a 33% increase if I did the math right. And so to me, I feel like that's kind of a big jump. What do you think? Do you feel like that's a big jump to go up 33%, like to have 33% more CUDA cores? I know that isn't going to necessarily translate to 33% performance improvements necessarily, but I mean, I guess it kind of could, because I think NVIDIA has basically come out and said before that you can pretty much expect 25% improvement generation to generation. Says you feel that the new GPUs will happen soon because the new 4K monitors with 144 Hz are finally coming. Yeah, that's true. We are finally seeing the high refresh rate 4K monitors hit in the market. And they are super expensive, but if you're going to get a super expensive graphics card, you need a super expensive monitor to go with it, or vice versa, right? Yeah. I am the same as you, man. I don't know as much about all the spec numbers as I should. You know, like kind of what exactly the texture mapping units and the floating point 32 performance of 13 teraflops. I know that's a lot of teraflops, but I know I don't fully understand what exactly that boils down to. And I have a little bit more of the enthusiast slash gamer slash layman's knowledge. Where it's like it's just more power means more FPS at higher resolution. So now you'll be able to run 4K at higher resolution. Higher frame rates than before, basically. New Rain, welcome to the stream. Good to see you, man. Hey, we got 4 watching, and I know that one of them, I'm pretty sure one of them is me. So we've got 3 viewers out there. We got 2 people in chat, which is very cool. We got our 3rd person as a lurker, so that might be the queen, as I have been, has been suggested to me to call her, my wife. She might be downstairs, listening in on what we're talking about and make sure I'm behaving myself. Or maybe it's my mom. I know she watches sometimes when she knows that I'm streaming. I don't know if she knows that I'm streaming or not today. Or it could be my cousin, who I'm going to his house a little bit later on tonight, because his birthday was earlier this week. Says yes. MB67 says yes, it's an improvement, especially for tasks that use CUDA cores, rendering software. Yeah, that's, I personally right now I use 1080p 60 hertz monitors, and I've thought about upgrading to some better. I'm not super duper interested necessarily in like high refresh rate monitors. I don't know. I like to play games, but I don't think I'm at that level, To me, I'm more about the resolution. I'd like to, if I was going to upgrade my monitors, I would go with with 4K monitors instead, just to get that higher resolution. And then, of course, these are TN panels that I'm using, and I'd really like to get IPS panels to get a little better color accuracy, so that when I'm making my videos and stuff, I can see how it's going to look, because I always look at it on my TN panel monitors when I'm editing them and stuff, and go like, yeah, I think that looks okay. And then I'll go over and look at them on my phone. I got a new phone, actually. I got the Galaxy S9 Plus recently. But then, those have the super AMOLED displays or whatever on them that are like really nice looking, and I was like, wow, that looks even better. It's like it looks better on my phone than it does on my PC monitor. But that's kind of where was I even going with that? I don't even remember. We were talking about, oh yes, rendering. Yes, that's why I was thinking I would like to upgrade my GPUs to something better. But I don't know that my editing software really utilizes CUDA very much. I use Power Director it's by Cyberlink, because I feel like Adobe is way too expensive kind of for what you get. I don't know. I haven't really used Adobe either, like fully, so I can't really speak to that. But just looking at the price tag for Adobe Creative Cloud, or whatever it's called now, is more money than I want to spend for video editing. And plus, there's so much stuff that Adobe does that I don't think I would ever take advantage of. I know a lot of other YouTubers use it. I think Paul and Kyle both use it, and Jay's 2 Cents uses it, and pretty sure that's what Linus Tech Tips uses. All of his editors use Adobe. Yeah, anyway, so when I was looking for video editing software, I was searching online and chose this program called Power Director from Cyberlink, because it had really good reviews, and I've been using it for several years now, and I like it a lot. I feel like it's a really good video editing software for a YouTuber like me. I guess that makes me also, I don't understand why a lot of other YouTubers go to Adobe. Other than the fact that it's kind of a feather in their cap, I guess, or a bragging rights kind of thing, that yes, I use Adobe and it costs a lot of money, so that therefore, I'm cool or something. I don't know. But yeah, but I've wanted to get I've wanted to upgrade my my i7 to like at least like a 2700X. You know, once they came out, that's really been appealing to me, to get more cores, more threads for faster rendering. And then I've also thought about upgrading to like 1080s or 1080 Ti's to get, you know, more CUDA for better better faster rendering times and stuff on videos and other stuff that I do, because I do also do a little bit of 3D stuff for work, because I do I order cabinets. I draw house plans for my dad's company, and then I also order the cabinets, and we have this software, it's called 2020, for doing cabinet renders. So like for our people that are buying the houses and they we'll do custom, you know, cabinet orders, and so then I'll you know, 3D model the kitchen basically, and then I'll render out photorealistic renders of the kitchens for them, and people love that. And it takes a long time sometimes, because the version of 2020 that I have, I don't think it utilizes the GPU at all. It's all CPU, and so I'm like, I want more cores, more threads. Maybe, hopefully the software is programmed to utilize it so that it would speed the process up, which I think it probably is and probably does. But all right, the chat has gone quiet. Either you guys are listening to me or you're bored with what I'm saying and you're doing something else and have navigated away. Oh, I should go back to here. Still not used to this whole streaming thing where I gotta like, at least I had my camera down at the bottom of the screen. How is the audio sounding and everything? Hasn't been any complaints, so I'm guessing audio's sounding okay, and that I'm not too loud, and I'm guessing that my fan is not annoying you guys. I got my ceiling fan running. I don't know. MB67 may have been here when I turned my fan on earlier, because I was getting really, really hot. It says you might be able to help me out with a GPU. That would be cool. What are we talking about? Birdie, what is the purpose of this video? This is just kind of a hangout live stream where kind of an AMA a little bit, ask me anything. Yeah, MB67. It's a talking head video. Yes, it is a talking head video. I planned a little bit of stuff to talk about if you guys didn't have questions or other things you wanted to talk about, but one of them was the GTX 1180. We just talked about that a little bit. So Birdie, welcome to the stream. Thanks for popping in, asking a question. Okay, yeah, hit me up on Twitter. Hey, we got another Penfukio Productions. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping in. I forget that you guys are a little bit behind, so you guys are answering questions and stuff that I asked a little while ago. Do I play Fortnite? Yes. I play Fortnite. It's probably one of the only games I am able to play right now, because you know, I'm married and have 2 kids, so gaming time is pretty limited. So I don't get to play a lot of different games, and I've been kind of determined, maybe a little bit obsessively, to get better at Fortnite, and so I play it whenever I have a chance, and I still suck. If you go watch my live stream from last week, I think it's just called Random Stuff with Bryan #5. I play some Fortnite at the beginning of it and get wrecked over and over. So you can see just how fantastic I am at it. If you wanted to, obviously. You don't have to. Oh, you forgot what my channel is. Oh, so you subscribed somewhere along the way and forgot what I make videos about. That's cool. That's okay. I understand that. I get it. Well, I appreciate you coming in and checking it out. My job right now, I work in construction. I draw house plans. I'm a drafter. And then I also do like permit paperwork and stuff like that. So I deal with the city a little bit on doing building permits and things like that. And then I also, another part of my job is ordering cabinets for the houses and doing like cabinet plans for people. And I'll do like 3D renderings of their kitchens for them. Super exciting stuff, I know. Well, thank you, MB67. You like my t-shirt designs. I've got a couple that I've sent to Paul and Kyle. The only two that they've picked up so far is the sword fight one and then the Star Wars one. I have a couple more that I've sent to them, but I haven't heard anything back, so I guess they didn't like them enough to turn them into shirts. So I did one of kind of like an architect, Birdie, but I don't officially, I'm not like a licensed architect. I work for a construction company as a drafter. So I'm kind of like an architect, but I'm not like an official licensed architect or anything. So I work under the company's business license, basically, to draw plans. What was I gonna? I was thinking about the t-shirt designs that I've done for Paul and Kyle. I was gonna tell about one. I've made a bunch into shirts and sent them in to them. You know, like I'll just do iron-on transfer and iron it onto a t-shirt and send it into them. And I was hoping, you know, that might spur them along a little bit. And they still haven't got back to me on any of them. I did one. My wife had a piece of luggage. It's an American Tourister brand, and as soon as I saw it, I thought of Kyle's accent that he does, his American Tourist. You know, he calls it every once in a while. You'll hear him call it his American Tourist accent, where he does his Asian accent that a lot of people find incredibly hilarious, and I am one of those people that find it really funny. So anyway, I changed American Tourister to just American Tourist and sent it in to him, and he laughed about it a little bit, but I guess it wasn't that funny to him because he hasn't said anything about it since then. But and I did another one that I sent into Paul, and if you watched Awesome Hardware and watched him open it on Mail Time, you might have seen it, because you know Paul has that picture of Data as Sherlock Holmes from Star Trek: The Next Generation on his wall. And so I drew a picture of Paul wearing that Sherlock Holmes outfit, but then I did his skin like that kind of yellowish tint or whatever that Data's skin is, and his eyes like Data's eyes. And maybe that was a little too far. Maybe I should have just done Paul as Sherlock Holmes, and maybe that would, I don't know. But I sent that to him. And yes, the Thievey Chow accident. Thievey Chow! Man, I probably shouldn't do it because Kyle can get away with it because he's not white, and I am. So it's like white people, we can't get away with you know, we can do other like white people accents, you know. So I could do like a British accent, you know, but then British people would be like, man, that American is doing a terrible accent. But anyway. Okay, Birdie. Well, thanks for stopping in. I also hope that my channel will get bigger. You know, I mean, I don't have any unrealistic expectations of it getting like really big, but you know, I of course it's something I enjoy doing, and I'd love to see it succeed and, you know, become something better than what it is right now. Yeah, I'm always happy whenever Thievey Chow donates to Kyle, because then he busts out the accent. It's fantastic. But anyway, one of the other things I was going to talk about. Okay, MB67, thanks for stopping in. We'll catch you later, man. Have a good evening. It's evening now. Yeah, have a good evening. Well, looks like we're down a couple viewers. We just had a few people bug out. I don't know if anybody else... I mean, it says we have 3 watching right now, so that means I've got myself and 2 others, and it might be 2 lurkers. I don't know. But if you guys have a question or something you want to talk about, just type it in the chat, and we will go over that. Let's see. I don't know how long have we been streaming. It says we've been live only 23 minutes. Is that right? That can't be right. Did something happen? Did like the stream like stop at some point and then start again? Huh. Or did I just get started later than I thought I did? Excuse me. I just feel like I've been going for longer. Because I was wanting... Well, no matter what, I should probably cut it off around 5:15. Anyway... Okay, so Pen Fukio, you're figuring out which video you watched of mine where you subscribed to the do you really need a graphics card video? I don't think that was me. I made one about upgrading your graphics card, which is like probably one of my most popular videos that on my channel. It has more views than any other video that I've got. And that one I made several years ago. It'll be like 3 years ago. This, what, December or something like that? Because I want to say I made it close to Christmas time is when I posted it online. And that one gets a lot of views, and it's definitely one of the videos I go back and watch and cringe at. I'm just like, eesh. So it says okay, so it says I started streaming 41 minutes ago. That's weird. Because I'm looking at my YouTube thing, and it tells me I've been live for 24 minutes. And I'm thinking 41 minutes ago is much more accurate, because, yeah, huh. Because I'm pretty sure I started it right around 4:15 Pacific time. But one of the things that I wanted to, well, I guess one of the things that I wanted to talk about a little bit, but MB67's gone now, so he won't. Okay, 3 months ago I posted it. It only has 219 views. So that would have been drivers. Is that the one you're talking about? The one where it said, "Do you really need to install the drivers?" Is that the video you're talking about? Because that one sounds like it would be that one. Because I know on that video, I don't think it has a whole lot of views. Sorry, I'm going to my creator studio here to look at my videos, and I'm guessing that's the one you're talking about. The "Do you need to install drivers?" from a few months ago. Says what happens, yeah, do you really need to install graphics drivers? And then I tested some games. Yeah, 219 views. Yep, so that's the one. Yes. Yeah, that video, you know, I was kind of surprised at, you know, how little of a difference installing the current drivers made on some games. And then there was other games where I installed them and it made a very big difference in like the average frame rate and, you know, and then the low, like the 1% low and stuff. So yeah, that was really interesting to me. You know, I mean, you get a lot better, smoother frame rate, obviously, with, you know, in that situation, like when the 1% lows like improved like dramatically. That just means you get a lot smoother gameplay experience. Than when, you know, there's the ones where the load drops way down, like under 60 FPS or even under like 30 FPS, you know, down into like the 20s and teens or lower or whatever. So yeah, that was one of those videos that I wasn't expecting what I got. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, man. You're saying it's surprising how low the view count is on that video. Yeah, on the one hand, it kind of surprises me that it's that low, but on the other hand, it doesn't. You know, because I don't know how many people are looking for that, you know. It was just one of a thought that I had, you know, and I was curious about it. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a video about this, you know, and I'm curious to know what happens. Because I get, you know, there was a lot of people that would ask me, do I really need to upgrade the drivers and stuff? Like on one of my other videos that I've got that's about installing drivers and stuff and about upgrading your graphics card. And they're, you know, they'd ask, you know, what if I don't install like the drivers, you know? And I was always like, well, you should install them if you want to get the best performance out of your graphics card. But I didn't know for sure because I'd never tried it, you know, so I didn't know. I didn't know the difference. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to just find out and make a video. Well, thank you. Thank you, man. I'm glad you thought the video was interesting. That's kind of what I thought it was interesting. and I hope that other people did too. I'm glad you did. Yeah. Well, let's see what how are we doing? Oh, 2 watching now. So, it looks like it's just you and me. Am I saying your name right? Is it Pen Fukio? Is that correct? And then I want to ask you, where are you watching from right now? Where in the world are you located? It's going to it'll take about 10 seconds for you to hear this from the time I ask it. So, I'm going to take a drink of water. And so instead of having a bunch of silence while I wait for him to answer my question, one of the things I wanted to one of the other things I wanted to talk about. So, okay, you're in California. Excellent. So, do you watch other tech YouTubers like Linus Tech Tips, Jay's 2 Cents, Bitwit, Paul's Hardware, Random Frank P? What's some of the other ones that I'm not thinking of? Any of those other guys? Do you watch any of those guys? In particular, I'm thinking about Paul and Kyle, Paul's Hardware and Bitwit, because I have a little story that I wanted to share today. Yes, I love that quality buffer lag. I want the video to look sharp. You know, and it's not very hard to get it to look sharp when it's just a talking head video. Streaming gameplay on my internet connection is a little bit meh. I only have like, what is my connection? Like 5 or 6 meg up? Something like that. Supposedly it's gonna, my internet provider is going to be upgrading us to 100 megabit down and 10 megabit up sometime in the near future, but there's like no word on when it's going to happen. All right, so you watched Linus. So then you probably watched Scrapyard Wars then. Did you? And the one where he had Paul and Kyle. Well, actually, Linus and Luke traveled down to California and competed against Paul and Kyle. You might have watched that one. But I'm a regular viewer of Paul and Kyle's live show called Awesome Hardware. And I designed this shirt that I'm wearing, actually, for them. And sold it to them. And I was going to share that story here today. It was one of the things I was thinking about doing, because a lot of times when I start my live streams, there's like nobody there. And so to fill the void of nobody in chat to talk with, then I just talk about whatever. And that was one of the things I was going to share, was the story of this shirt. If you're interested, I would be happy to share it with you. Seeing as you're the only one in chat right now, if you would like to hear it, I will share it with you. If not, then we can talk about something else, whatever else. You know, ask me anything, really. I mean, if you have a question about PC stuff or anything else, really, that I will share my advice or opinion upon it with you. And now, the 10-second delay while I wait for you to hear what I just said. Excuse me, I'm chewing ice cubes. I didn't mean to drink them, but I thought it might be kind of tacky to spit them back in the cup. Go for it. Maybe more peeps would join in. Okay, I will share the story. So, I'm trying to remember exactly when it was. I want to say it might have even been back in like 2015? I don't know. It was a long time ago. Several years ago, Paul and Kyle, on their live show, Awesome Hardware, said that they wanted to do fan-made merchandise, you know, or fan-made design on some of their merchandise, so like T-shirts and stuff like that. And so at that time, I sent in several different ideas that I had for some designs for them. And needless to say, nothing came of that. And, you know, some more time went by, and I had a new idea. Because on their show, they have a segment called Sword Fight. It's one of Paul's segments that he likes to do. Because if you're not familiar with their show, they split their show up into two halves. It's about an hour, or maybe a little over an hour per half. And one half they stream to Kyle's channel, Bitwit, and the other half they stream to Paul's channel, Paul's Hardware. And so on Paul's half, he's got his segments and Kyle's got his. So anyway, Sword Fight is one of Paul's. And they'll take a controversial topic, and each one of them will argue a side. And so I was thinking about this idea of sword fight. You know, it was in my head. And one day Kyle has a video that he puts out where he's wearing a T-shirt, and it's got one of those "Hello, my name is" tags on it. You know, it's not like a real sticker tag. It just looks like it. You know, it's actually printed onto the shirt. But it says. Under that, it says, "Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die," which is from the movie The Princess Bride, if you've ever seen that. And so then, at that point, it was kind of like everything came together. It was like sword fight, fan-made design, Princess Bride, boom. Because in the movie The Princess Bride, there's like, you know, this, from my childhood, epic sword fight scene between... the man in black, or Wesley, who's the main character, who's trying to save the princess, and this other guy, Inigo Montoya. And so at that point, I had the whole idea all came together, which is this shirt right here, where you have the Paul, or let's see here, I'm looking at my screen, so we have Paul on this side as the man in black, and then Kyle as Inigo Montoya, and they're sword fighting, and... so I drew it all up, scanned it into my computer, colored it all in Photoshop, and then I printed it up onto iron-on transfer paper and carefully cut out, like, around, like, you know, as close as I could, you know, cut out all the way around, and then carefully placed it onto T-shirts and ironed it on so that it more or less looked like this. It wasn't, you know, perfectly like this because it was iron-on. But anyway, I sent it in to them, and they loved them, and which I was super stoked about, obviously. And then they said, you know, during that show, because they opened it live on their live show, and on that one they're saying, "We need to get in contact with Bryan." You know, so I was waiting for them to get in contact with me, and I heard nothing. So eventually I started bugging them, like on Twitter and stuff, and they finally, I don't know how long it took. It took a long time. I think it took like a year or something of me kind of occasionally bugging them once every, you know, 3 months or something like that. And they finally were like, "Yeah, we want to make your design. We want to sell your shirts on our stores." So they finally bought the design from me and started producing them. And this is one that they sent to me. So that was pretty exciting for me. I thought it was something, you know, I've never kind of really reached outside of my own personal bubble before, you know, well, my personal bubble of people that I know, friends and family and stuff, haven't, reached out outside of it to in that kind of a way before, like giving artwork or something that I've made to somebody that I've never met before in person. And so that was a super cool experience for me. So you're a custom PC builder too, but finances keep you from making a YouTube channel off my builds. Also, the excitement of building a new computer, I forget record. Oh, you forget to record the build? Well, thanks. The story makes the shirt better. Oh, well, thank you. I don't know. Here, I should bring that up. I can do a screen capture here, and we will go to paulshardware.net, and I'll show you. I have one other design. So here's the sword fight shirt right here, and they are $23. Man, but I don't know. I guess that's probably about the going rate of a T-shirt nowadays, isn't it? But that's one of them that I did right there, and then I did one other one, which is this one right here. This is I call it the Star Wars because, let's see here, Star Wars poster. Oops. We need like the old school original Star Wars. Where are you? So this one right here. This isn't exactly the one. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. This isn't the exact one I was thinking of. Or is it more this one? I think it's more this one. No, that's the same one. That's not it either. But anyway, it was one that's very similar to that. But I am having trouble finding it. It was like even one of the old school original Star Wars movies from like 1970, was it 77 or 78? When the original Star Wars movie came out. This is close enough. We will open it in a new tab, right? No. Yes. So here we go. Can I not? Oh, there we go. Okay. So that's this was kind of the inspiration for this one. I've kind of flip-flopped things a little bit, but I was thinking, because Kyle's kind of kind of silly and like funny, and I was like, it would be funny, kind of as poke fun at them a little bit, and have Paul be the hero, Luke Skywalker here, and Kyle be the Princess Leia of the picture. And then we have the two droids here in the back. And on their live show, whenever they're at Paul's house, Paul has two dogs. And they're always, whenever, like, sometimes they're in the middle of their show and Paul's wife comes home, the dogs start barking and stuff. And so the dogs are very present. They're, that they're there. And so that's why I threw the dogs in there. They're kind of taking the place of the droids a little bit. But I didn't really fully like the idea of having Kyle in this kind of Princess Leia type of thing. I was like, I don't think people are gonna get it, And then there was a time where we need to go find his. Oh, let's see here, Bitwit cork bottle. There we go. That's what we want. If you haven't seen this. This is fantastic. So we are going to skip this. Okay, so this was in between halves of their live show. Kyle is sitting here messing around with this cork on this bottle of beer. And so then he's like, yeah, there's got to be like a drinking game where you... And then all of a sudden, here he is pointing at his glasses. Oh, it's still funny. But anyway, Kyle did that, and after that, then for me, it was clear that is what I needed to do on this shirt, was have him staring down the barrel of a bottle of beer. And I sent it to them. I sent the design to them. I want to say I tweeted it to them on Twitter. They both loved it, and then they wanted to sell them on their stores. So it is now there. But anyway, that's my those are my stories. And let's switch back the camera here. But anyway, it is about Alana. Hello, welcome. Let's see here. Make sure. I just want to make sure I haven't missed any questions or anything in chat. But it is 5:15 Pacific time. I need to sign off. I've got stuff to do tonight, so I just want to say thanks so much for coming and hanging out, for chatting with me. It's been fun. I appreciate you guys being here. I plan on being live again next Saturday. I should be doing it in the morning. If that's going to change, I will tweet it out. So if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see it there. So you had something like that happen to you. You were driving with a groomsman gift from a buddy and had a bottle explode while driving, and oh man, that sucks. So you got like beer or something all over in your car, or was it like something else? That sucks. But yeah, anyway, I need to split, and I should be able to see your answer to the question here. But what was I saying? Yeah, I need to go. Thanks for coming. Next week, I'll be streaming. I plan on streaming at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So if you'd like to come hang out for the stream again next week, I'd love to see you here. And I think that is all. All right, Dominic Francis, welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming in. You thought the car got shot? Yeah, I bet. You hear that like pop. All right. Well, thanks again, guys. We will see you later. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend.